when I heard that you were doing figure, I gotta say, the number one difference that I love to talk about for people, because we have had on a few other guests that have done, physique and then decided to do figure, is the fact that you gotta wear those high heels. What was that like for you? Because for everyone out there that doesn't know physique, don't gotta wear those high heels, but bikini and figure, those darn high heels that we hear all these stories about.
Yeah, it really is. Well, my husband can attest. He's actually right here.
Hey.
He said he didn't want to be on, but I'm making him. He was like, "Holy crap!" We started working. We both work with Kenny Wallach, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, this is really involved." And it is, and especially because I've been doing women's physique poses for however long now, and so even though there's just those 4 quarter turns and those two little, I don't even know, model poses, it's very involved. And then honestly, I'm not it's not even that I'm bad at walking in heels normally, but when you get up there, I can't even describe. It's not that I get nervous. I'm always been a bigger crowd, the better. Let's do this. I come from a gymnastics, cheerleading, dance background, and I can remember like even being a little kid, and I would peek out at the recitals and like see how many people were there, and I wanted like a big crowd. So I don't really get nervous, but it's like this. It's a physical. It feels like I'm walking on stilts. I mean, the moment that you're up there on stage, it's like you lose all proprioception and kinesthesia. Like you don't even I don't even feel like I feel like robotic. Like I don't it's so hard to describe because it's like looking at it and judging it, you're thinking, okay, like just walk, just walk, girl. But it's like it's almost like you just lose, like you've got two wooden legs all of a sudden. And so I just know that that'll just get better over time. I did do my first figure show actually when I very first started competing. I did one figure show. And then I moved on to fitness. So I did have to wear heels then. So I know what it's like. I remember struggling then. Shaking was always something that, like, even though it wasn't a nervous shake, it was just a physiological, like, tremor. And I would try to pose really hard. It's really hard for me to like, I'm a perfectionist and I'm trying to pose perfect and I'm trying to get that out of my system that a lot of times people over pose and you look worse because any little bit of water that you have, or any little bit of nervousness that you do have when you're posing and contracting so hard is going to shake and vibrate. And that's going to detract. That's going to look worse. If you're not quite conditioned, it's better. I mean, obviously, we're all trying to be our best conditioning, but sometimes people show up at shows and your body didn't cooperate or whatever, and you still committed, you still showed up, you still followed through, but maybe your conditioning wasn't where you wanted it to be. So you're trying to correct it by posing, and a lot of times it just makes you look worse. So, yeah, so it's just going to be time, time, time.
Yeah, just like with everything else that comes in this sport, I mean, it's just that preparation and also just learning things all over time. And I mean, it's not a marathon, or it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. But what was the mental experience like for this? Because for a lot of times, people identify with that division that they're in, especially when it comes to female bodybuilding. Where I mean, you were a physique competitor for such a long time, and you're used to that look. Looking in the mirror and seeing that look. Was it different, or was it difficult for you to make that transition to figure and just realize that you are going to present a different look now on stage?
No, actually, it was very relieving. The same thing happened Tampa Pro last year whenever I thought about doing figure, and it was so relieving. And I practiced in those heels. We got together. I didn't even practice women's physique. I changed my contract like the last day that you could do it. I don't. I just talked to some other people that I was just like, okay, I had already really committed and in my mind, and then I just thought, you know what, even if you don't do figure, you need to have this mindset like you are, just like you are, because it was like a switch. It was like all the anxiety of trying to just get so peeled. And so, like, for me, I'm never the one up there with the line glutes like that. And it was just like becoming more and more mandatory. Like, in order to win, you have to have that. You have to have that. And I was just chasing after that, and it just was not happening for me. And it was just relieving, even the thought of just like, not that you don't have to be tight back there for figure, because you do, but just the pressure was off to be so super conditioned and gnarly looking that I mean, I don't even know like how they people achieve this look. Um, so I definitely have like thicker skin and just a softer physique in general. And I do feel like when a women's physique first started, it was more about shape, and it was okay to be that, a softer image, just as long as everything, was tight and good, and you had a lot of muscle and you had good proportions and balance. It was enough to win. And so now it's almost like a freak show, and I don't have that freak factor. I my as it was just an easy switch because it was play to your strengths, and I do feel like that's my strength is that I have a good X frame, a good shape, and I just felt blessed to be able to do both divisions. So a lot of people I think are still out in no man's land. They don't know what to do because they don't really know where they can belong. And because I'll be honest, I mean, even though I have a lot of work to do, my bone structure, literally, like my hips are small, and some of these people that don't have that, it's like what do they do? So I just felt really blessed to be able to do both divisions, and then just see what the judges would like. I mean, it's gonna be the same thing. It's gonna be mixed placings at every show. I mean, Tampa was a really big show, and I did well, so they liked me there. We'll see. I think that's a good sign. But we'll see what is to come. But it's very mentally just very rewarding because I don't feel like I'm chasing after something that I know my body's resistant to. So I think that I'll just really do well in the division and prepping for it, having fun again. This bodybuilding has not been fun this past year, 2 years really. It's been very stressful. I've questioned why am I even doing this. Honestly, I was just like, well, think I'm just going to try to shoot for getting back to the Olympia one more time because I will kid you not, I have never peaked at the Olympia. Still yet. I don't know what it is about out there, but I will look so much better like the week of or the day before. Like on stage, I've not been my best, and that drives me nuts because I've peaked at other shows that were less important, and it's like, I just wanted to get back there one more time because I know that every time, well, I won't say every time. My very first show, my very first Olympia, that's my favorite look still to this day. So, and that's the best I've done. I placed fifth then. So I did peak that time, but I've become a better bodybuilder since then. I mean, my balance is better, my muscular development's better, but I haven't appeared better. So and my conditioning's been better. I've been leaner, but I haven't been able to show it. And yeah, people have no idea those last 24 hours, especially for a body type like me. Like some people pretty much stay the same all the time. I fluctuate very, very often, and it can either be for the good or for the bad. So